Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. We've been having some tech issues this morning, but we're working through them. There we go. So I appreciate, thanks to Dominic and Zach and the staff here at the Glass City Center on getting those things resolved. It's going to stay right there. That's where we're going to leave it. All right, this time I'd like to ask Carol Sobczak to come to the podium to deliver a reflection and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Good afternoon, President Kevin, fellow Rotarians, and honored guests. When I was asked to give the invocation today and I saw that the speaker was from the Girl Scouts, I recalled my early days as a junior scout. There were a few badges for us, like forestry and science, but mostly our badges were things like cooking, home economics, sewing, first aid, and childcare. Then I thought back to the choices my mother and grandmother had. My grandmother was in an arranged marriage. My mother was orphaned and in the 1940s had to make her own way at 18, and so she was limited to pretty much getting married. Even when I was in high school, girls were urged to become nurses or teachers. Thanks to those women, my mother and grandmother and others, I was able to make other choices. So now as we enjoy our meal together, let us reflect on our successes in life and those people who helped us along the way. Now it's our turn to mentor the next generation of boys and girls. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we begin our meeting, I'd like to thank and acknowledge Equitable Advisors and this month's sponsor, this month's meeting sponsor and Rotarian Jason Harris. I saw Jason, he's in the back of the room. Jason, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. If anybody has any guests, Zach is in the middle of the room with the microphone. You can take your guests there. Again, just in the interest of time, we ask that you introduce your guest with their name, where they work, and maybe you can tell us what their job title is, but that's probably about it.
President Kevin, fellow Rotarians and guests, I have a guest today. This is a new position in the city of Toledo. This is Mara Momini, and she is the new food policy manager for the city of Toledo.
Hello, President Kevin. I have two guests with me today. We have Kylie Dull and Olivia Gang. They are both University of Toledo athletes here at Toledo, but they are Rockets Ascend program and a couple of mentees that we're working with. And they're seniors this year, and we're proud to have them here at Rotary.
Awesome. TOL? We can do better than that. I'm just going to surprise you with it at some other time. It's going to happen. All right. So I mentioned Jackie is back from maternity leave, and she thought that coming back with a baby would also mean she wouldn't have to come back to the podium, but she thought wrong. So please welcome back for her first update as executive director. Big round of applause for Jackie.
You guys are too kind. I'm not going to move the microphone because we won't put it back. But thank you for the warm welcome. This is my second Monday back with you all, and it feels very good to be back. So thank you all for the kindness you've shown me. And I wanted to start by saying that we do have the month of May available for the monthly meeting sponsorship. So like you just congratulated Jason Harris for doing that for us. Your name could be mentioned at the month of May. Please let me know if you're interested in a May meeting sponsorship. But then what I really would like to say is congratulations and welcome to our newest Rotarians that were approved at April's board meeting. If you will join me, I'm going to say who recently became Rotarians, and you can clap and congratulate them at the end of the list here. So if you're here, please feel free to stand up and wave when I mention your name. But we were pleased to welcome Sheena Barnes of Just Acts, LLC, Brianna Budd of Highland, Judge Myron Duhart, Josh Elcher of Talbot Health, Heather Four of Buckeye Broadband, Wynn Hall of Erie Home, Tony Corey of Stryker, and Sam Vassar of VNA Risk. So I know that Brianna and Sam are both here. If any others are here, feel free to stand. But please join me in welcoming them to the club with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. And again, continued thanks to Karen for all of her hard work, as well as our membership committee. This puts us at, I think the number is like 93 new members since July 1. Again, that means that over half of our club is new. So if you look around the table and say, I don't know that person, chances are they don't know people around the table either. So it's certainly a sign that our club is moving in the right direction. We're excited about the momentum. We're excited about all the stories that have been told about the work that we're doing, and we're grateful to see the new members come in and join us in continuing that. Speaking of great work that's happening and the story being told, this past weekend was District 6600 Northwest Ohio Quadrant Conference. And I told the story briefly to some of the ladies from Girl Scouts that at the start of the year, Tim Ryan, who is here, District Governor Tim Ryan, right here in the third row. So Tim said, hey, instead of a district conference, where a few years ago we spent lots of money on not a whole lot of Rotarians attending a party, Tim said we can do this better. And he split the $40,000 budget into quadrants and gave $10,000 to each quadrant. Here's what I love about when you give Rotarians a task, is that each of those quadrants independently came up with the idea of doing a day of service. This past Saturday was the Northwest Quadrant's Day of Service. Is Michael Miller in the room? I see him all the way back there. Michael, you need to stand up. So Michael represented our club on the planning committee for this. Did a wonderful job. Let's give him a round of applause. I also want to say thank you to past President Chuck Mann, our resident DJ, for spinning the tunes all day Saturday. Thank you very much. With the exception of Baby Shark, you did a great job. And of course, Grant Beachy, when he came out, he said, I can start helping remove invasive species, or I can go get my drone and my camera and help tell the story. And I was like, please go get your drone and your camera. And this is what Grant came up with.
I have to start by saying it's
Nope,
not an
that's
easy
not it.
story that comes
Tim
easy
looks
for me
great.
because it's still painful. And I'm relaying the story because while it might be problematic for me, it highlights what really is the magic and the soft power.
All right,
of
we
what
might come back to that.
Well, the Supreme Court is just one example. We're turning now back to the U.S., where the political blueprint for the next Republican president, Project 2025,
Dominic, I'm
has
guessing that
drawn
was just
criticism,
rolling
not
in
only from
advance
the
to the next,
Democrats,
video
but
on our
also from
playlist,
Donald Trump
probably.
himself, calling the 900-page document, quote, seriously extreme. Yet the contributors of the conservative playbook include some of his closest political advisors, as well as organizations with Christian nationalist leanings. Historian Kristen Kobes-Dumais speaks to Michelle Martin about the rise of evangelicalism in politics and the impact it could have on American democracy.
Kristen Kobes-Dumais, thank you so much for talking with us once again.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
That's also not
So
it.
I want to focus our conversation on Project 20.
And now we turn to democracy in the United States, which our next guest believes is under threat. In his new book, David Daley suggests that far-right actors, including within the Supreme Court,
It would be
are
impressive
controlling American
if
elections.
Grant pulled that off.
And now we turn to democracy in the United States, which our next guest believes is under threat. In his new book, David Daley suggests that far-right actors, including within the Supreme Court, are controlling
All right.
American elections.
Let's
He
come back to
describes
that.
a 50-year plot to undermine voting rights. He joins Hari Srinivasan to discuss the implications
microphone
as
again
Americans
just to see if
head to
that
the polls
buys
in
us some
November.
time. All right.
And now
Well,
we turn
we will
to
get a chance to
democracy
take
in
a
the
look at that
United
video,
States, which our next
before the
guest
program
believes is
ends.
under threat. In his new book, David Daley suggests that far-right actors, including within the Supreme Court,
Let's dive right into our
are
program,
controlling
shall we?
American elections. He describes
We are
a 50-year
excited
plot
to have
undermine voting rights.
representatives
He joins
from
Hari
Girl
Srinivasan
Scouts
to
of
discuss
Western
the
Ohio with us
implications
here.
as Americans
Of
head
course,
to the
Kelly
polls
Train,
in
a
November.
member of our
This
club,
conversation is
one
part of our
the great
ongoing
local staff
initiative
here,
that
but we
reports
also
on
have a
threats to
leadership team down in
democracy,
Cincinnati,
the impact of
as well, that
changes
made
to
the trek
voting
up to
laws,
Northwest Ohio to
and
be
what
with us.
citizens need to
And so
know,
with that,
called
we've got
preserving
an
democracy.
incredible discussion today.
Bianna, thanks. David Daley,
about,
thanks so much for joining
the
us.
state
Your
of
most
the
recent
girl,
book, Anti-Democratic,
Ohio,
Inside the
and
Far
that will
Right's
be led
50-year
by
plot.
Christy Hoffman, and the CEO of Girl Scouts of Western Ohio, Aimee Sproles.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. It is my pleasure to introduce our moderator, Christy K. Hoffman, today. She is a dedicated advocate for all girls and an unwavering supporter of the Girl Scouts of Western Ohio. Christy is a true champion for girls, both here in our community and across the nation. She has served on the local Girl Scout Council board and has made a significant impact at the national level as well, most notably playing a lead role in the 2017 Girl Scout National Convention in Columbus, and serving as a national volunteer partner for the movement, further demonstrating her commitment to advancing opportunities for girls nationwide. I'm gonna have to move it, I'm sorry, Christy. I'm not quite tall enough, there we go. Okay, separately, Christy also organizes and leads the annual Girl Leadership Summit, her own signature event that brings together and empowers young women from across the entire region. And if you haven't been, put it on your calendar. Professionally, Christy brings a dynamic background in journalism, in media, and youth development. She's the founder of Christy K Media, a platform focused on business, healthy living, and personal success. She's also the author of Total Package Girl, a book dedicated to empowering young women to embrace their full potential. An Emmy-nominated TV host and lifestyle influencer, Christy has devoted her life to lifting others, a commitment that earned her the YWCA Milestone Award in 2023 for a lifetime of service and volunteerism. Today, Christy joins us to lead a critical conversation on behalf of the Girl Scouts of Western Ohio, centered around the findings of a recent study, the Ohio State of the Girl Report. Are girls okay? We are honored to welcome her insight, her passion, and her leadership as we explore this vital question, and more importantly, how we can be a part of the solution. Please join me in welcoming Christy K. Hoffman.
Yes, please. Thank you, Aimee. Wow, and thank you very much for being here today. It's great to see so many familiar faces and to really expose a lot more about the study that's coming up, so we're excited. So it's an honor to be here with you all today as we shine the light on the lives, the challenges, and all of the potential of girls, especially right here in Northwest Ohio and Toledo. So this is more than just a report. It's a wake-up call for all of us. I found this to be earth-shattering, groundbreaking, mind-blowing all at the same time when I read the report, so I can't wait for you all to hear about it. Because behind the data points is a real girl. It's a student at some of our local schools. It's a daughter. It's a neighbor, a future leader. And the truth is that too many of them are struggling right now with anxiety, with loneliness, depression, safety concerns, and a lack of confidence. So these issues, they're not distant. They're actually right here in our homes, in our schools, our communities, our worship centers, community centers, all around us. And I feel, and the Girl Scouts feel, that we all really do have a responsibility. And frankly, this is an opportunity for all of us to come together and to change that. So yes, I come to the conversation with a background in media and youth, confidence, and leadership. And yes, I've had the privilege of working with girls, both locally and nationally, through TV and media, as well as platforms for my book, Total Package Girl, and Girl Scouts of Western Ohio and Girl Scouts of the USA. But truly what brings me here today, more than anything, is my deep belief and my passion that girls in Northwest Ohio deserve our full attention, our support, and also our action. Our goal today is not only to reflect on what the data tells us, but to ask ourselves, what can we do about it? How can we, as educators, executives, community leaders, mentors, parents, neighbors, how can we step in a real and lasting way? So before we dive into that discussion, I am now going to invite Aimee Sproles back up to the podium because she is the one who's going to give us this incredible study and research finding that led us to this conversation today. So we're then going to hear from a fabulous panel, so excited about this, that's really going to talk about the impact that this study is going to have on all of the girls they are working with. So on that note, Aimee, come on back up to the podium. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Christy, and thank you, everyone. You have the QR code here and on your tables. It'll be on every slide as well if you miss it. But I invite you to take a deep dive into the report. There's also a couple of copies at your table. The thing that you'll find when you go to the website, though, is you'll be able to see county by county what the state of girls is in the counties that you care most about right here in Northwest Ohio. So I really encourage you to check out the website. I'm going to give you a view of the statewide girls today. So next slide, please. The girls' lives of Ohio are really, really complicated and messy, but girls are also incredibly resilient. I would say that's the headline from this study that we did. And what we found is that when you look at youth data, it tells one story, but when you begin to look at the data for boys and girls separately, you start to see an incredibly different lived experience for girls right here in Ohio. Girls in Ohio face challenges that affect their physical, social, mental, and academic growth. Organized activities like the Girl Scouts and many others offer incredibly essential support to them. Through programs like these, girls gain experiential learning, healthy relationships, teamwork, and opportunity to take risks in a safe environment. Next slide. So are Ohio girls okay? It's a mixed story. In one sense, over half of girls in high school report feeling sad or hopeless. Over half of girls in middle school and a quarter of girls in high school were bullied online. Those are really tough statistics. If you know 2 girls or if you know 4 girls, you know a girl that this is her lived reality. And I just want to take a moment to pause and say some of the statistics that are in this report are really tough to hear. And I encourage you to do what you need to take care of yourself if you hear something that's a little bit surprising. But I also would encourage you to press in for just a moment because these statistics are very real girls. And if it's hard for you to hear about their lived experience, imagine how hard it is for them to live it. At the same time, nearly half of all girls have access to after-school programming and extracurricular activities. That is a critical piece of the puzzle. But what that means is about half don't have access. Next slide. When we look at what's happening with girls and their body image, and I know we're in a mixed crowd today, but I see a lot of women, I found it incredibly shocking to learn how girls are seeing themselves and how social media is affecting that image. Girls between the age of 6 and 10 are already starting to think about their weight. I don't know about you, but when I was between 6 and 10, I was thinking about roller skating and jump roping. And the world has shifted for them highly because of social media. 57% of girls said that what social media shows them about physical image really changes how they want to look. Next slide. When we look at what's happening with girls in high school, a quarter of them are experiencing bullying, whether physical bullying on campus or electronic bullying online. I don't know about you, but that's not okay for me. Next slide. When we look at what's happening across STEM, this is a bright spot for us. We're making incredible progress. Girls have more access to opportunities to learn, to discover, to take risks, to fail and learn that that's their first attempt in learning in the STEM space. And for the state of Ohio and for Northwest Ohio, having girls ready to take their position in STEM fields will be important for our economy in the future. I don't know about you all, but this is something I'm thinking about every single day. How do we build resilience into the economy of Ohio? And the key to that one factor will be STEM fields, and we have to balance the field. Next slide. So how can you make a difference? There's a lot of ways that you can get involved and make a difference. First off, increasing girls' access. As I shared earlier, half of girls have access to after-school experiences, but that means about half don't. And these after-school experiences through trusted and time-proven programs are incredibly important to increase girls' access to challenging activities, ways to build resilience, and places to develop their confidence. But it's also incredibly important for them to be surrounded by adult mentors, caring adults who make sure that they have a safe environment and that they have someone they can turn to beyond their family when they need additional support. It's also incredibly important for us as adults in this world to think through and figure out ways to address interpersonal aggression in our youth. Until we do, this world will not be a safe place for boys or girls, and it is a crisis. Finally, we need to provide access to mental health resources. 1 in 4 girls tell us that they do not have access to mental health resources today, and as you know, over half are struggling with sadness and depression. It is incredibly important for us to figure out the solutions and open up the policies and make sure that our girls have access to trusted mental health providers who can help them navigate a really complicated world. Next slide. We have the ability to make a difference. Each of you are leaders in this community. You have a role to play. So my call for you is to think about, as you read through this report today, find one aspect, one thing, and think to yourself, what can I do in the life of a girl that I love, in the community of Northwest Ohio, in the city of Toledo, to make a difference? Next slide. There are roles that we can all play, whether we're caregivers, youth program providers, policymakers, or schools. Everyone can surround our youth, but in particular our girls, and make it a safer place for them. Next slide. So I want to thank you for the time. I hope you'll take a deep dive into the report, and it is my great pleasure to welcome Christy K. Hoffman back to the stage to facilitate our panel discussion with 3 women who have some really insightful things to share with us today based on how girls are doing. Thank you so much.
Wow. Wow. Test, test, test. I think we're out again. Can you hear me okay in the back? Okay. Aimee, thank you. Thank you to the Girl Scouts for doing this study. As our panelists are coming up on stage, I just want to say I read this study a couple of different times because I couldn't get enough of it the first time, and there's just so much to assimilate. Wow, it's powerful, as I said earlier. And these 3 women have done so much with girls. I'm going to ask each one of them. So here's who we have. In the middle, we have Shannon Tisdale Carter. She's the principal of Ella P. Stewart Academy for Girls. Please give her a round of applause. We have Kelly Pack. She's the vice president at Owens Community College at the end. And she's the director of Jill of All Trades. And here next to me, we have Tiffany Hallman. And Tiffany is the Chief Development and Marketing Director and Officer for the Girl Scouts of Western Ohio, fresh up from Cincinnati. Woo. So what I would like to do, first of all, is I'd like to have each of them give a background on what they do for a living and how they work with girls, and specifically even kind of the age and category in which they work with the girls. So go ahead, Tiffany.
So like Christy said, I'm Tiffany Hallman. I am the Chief Marketing and Development Officer for Girl Scouts here in Western Ohio. And I get the privilege of working with girls with the Girl Scouts from kindergarten all the way up to who are involved in one of our Girl Scout programs. But not only that, I'm a mom. I have 4 daughters of my own. And so this report speaks really highly for me, not only as someone who's passionate about making sure that we are fostering the next new leaders in Ohio through Girl Scouts, but also as a mom and of girls. So I'm just so happy to be here to share more about this with you all today.
Thank you, Tiffany, and thanks for that background and all you do for girls. And next, let's have Shannon tell us about her background a little bit more. Thanks.
Yes, so I am currently, this is my first year as the principal of LP Stewart Academy for Girls. However, I have been at the school since 2012, where I was previously the school counselor. So I have done lots of work with the girls there. An educator for 24 years, so I had more experience in the classroom with girls. Was that all that you asked?
Yes.
Okay.
And the age of the girls?
Oh, we have, well, from age 3 through 11 or 12.
Okay, very good. And Kelly?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Vice President of Institutional Advancement as well as Executive Director of the Foundation with Owens Community College. It's great. And it does say I'm Director of Jill of All Trades. I would say I'm one of many directors of Jill of All Trades. It's definitely a collaborative effort. And so at Owens Community College, of course, we have college students, so age 18, and at Owens, we have lifelong learners. So I would say age 18 to 98, of course. We have, but specifically with our Jill of All Trades program that we are working with high school students, exposing them to different programs, and we'll talk more about that. Along with, we do work with the Girl Scouts, and we do a STEAM day. We've been doing it on our Findlay campus, but we're looking at adding it on our Perrysburg campus as well, which exposes even younger girls to different careers and programs in STEM and the arts as well. And I will say, former Girl Scout, and I have 2 daughters, and they were both Girl Scouts as well.
Wow, highly credentialed. How about a round of applause early on into this panel? Thanks for being here. So as all of us, I don't know how you all felt, but when you heard Aimee talking about some of the research findings, I'm sure there were little nuggets of those findings that really resonated with each of you. And I would just sort of urge you and encourage you to really tuck those away and think about how that really impacted you and who you were thinking about maybe when you heard that. So for the 3 of you up here, I'd like to know what struck each of you as you were reading through the state of the girl in Ohio. Was there a statistic? Was there a quote? Was there something that resonated with you or surprised you or shocked you as you were going through that? And Shannon, why don't we start with you? What mirrored your daily experience at LP Stewart Academy?
Well, first I would say what shocked me was the number of girls who were sad and hopeless, and who actually attempted suicide. That's huge because we spend so much time uplifting the girls daily. We tell them we're here to build each other up and not tear each other down. So there's things that we instill every moment of the day with them. So to see that statistic, it was a little alarming. But there are girls who I do know come into the building and carry so many heavy things on their shoulders. And that resilience piece is true. They carry things that as an adult, I don't know that I'd be able to handle at times. But they do it with grace, and they have the support of their fellow classmates. So that is something that stood out for me.
That's really interesting because we don't know what people are showing up with. They may be smiling, but this report is so impactful for those reasons, is that we know now deep down there are many other things going on with girls. And Kelly, as you work with career counseling, mentorship, and that type of thing, how did it relate to you as you were thinking through some of the things from the study?
Absolutely. So the statistic that stuck with me is that it says more 29 to 39-year-old women have obtained a STEM or STEM-related degree at this point in time more than any other time in the past. But they still only represent 39% of the workforce in STEM fields. So I think we still have some ways to go there. I think we need to do a better job at an earlier age exposing girls to careers in STEM, and not only that, what you can do with them, because if they're dealing with things when they're young also, that just may be a way out of that. And I'll tell one little story an example of this. I was talking with someone who had gone into like middle school class to talk about their job, and they talked about being an engineer probably for 10 minutes, and a little girl raised her hand and said, "What kind of train do you drive?" So I think exposing young people not only to careers or schooling, but what these jobs actually do in our community is really important. They can see themselves in it then.
Absolutely. Great points. And Tiffany, you mentioned you're a mom. I know you have a few kids. And tell us about them and their ages, if you would. And then also, from your Girl Scout perspective, what felt particularly urgent to you?
So, yes, I actually have 6 kids. So, kindergarten up to a junior in college. And like I said, 4 of them are girls. So, as a mom, and I look at these statistics, 1 in 4, I have that. And I look at my girls and I think, gosh, they're so happy and they're thriving, but the statistics are real. And so a lot of us as parents think, not my child. And for me, it was very, it was eye-opening that it could be my child. And so I want to make sure that I'm doing things and having conversation with my girls to make sure that they're not one of these statistics here in Ohio. And as a Girl Scout and as a Girl Scout officer, I think of all the girls in our Ohio community and want them to thrive and want them to be successful. And so for me, I'm really passionate of giving girls the opportunity to be leaders, to, as Aimee said, try things and fail and not feel scared to do that. My youngest, Mildred, she is a 1st grader, and she's a little Girl Scout. And her older sisters were in sports, and they competed to make the team and to get their spot on the field. And she gets to go to Girl Scouts every single month and belong and walk out of that meeting with happiness and excitement because she's with girls that she can be herself with, and there's no competing. She just gets to be part of something fun and special.
Such an important point, to be a part of something. And you know what? We're going to talk about that next. Sort of categorically speaking, we're going to jump into mental health, belonging, and truly who they are as young girls and young women. So more than half of girls reported feeling persistently sad and hopeless. So we know that belonging, that sense of belonging and who they are truly does matter. How are girls trying to find connection, and Tiffany, you just mentioned that a little bit as well. How are girls trying to find connection, and how can adults support that? And Kelly, let's start with you in terms of how mentorship and hands-on learning can help that.
Absolutely. So one of the Jill of all trades actually came to us here from Canada. Owens was the first school in the United States to have this program. And at the base of this, it's that girls have an opportunity to do some hands-on learning, training, exploration without boys in the room. Because studies have shown that if boys and girls are there, a lot of times boys are a lot more confident, pushed to the front, and the girls don't get the chance to do it. So I think those hands-on activities and experiences without feeling judged, without feeling like they have to muscle their way up to the front is actually a really, really good thing for girls. And the other part of that would be the mentoring. Another piece of Jill of all trades is that we try to have women mentors in the fields. Again, so young women can see themselves and say, you know what, someone else did it, I can do it too.
And someone who looks like me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Tiffany, how does Girl Scouts foster safety and connection? I know you've already addressed it a little bit.
Yes, for sure. So with Girl Scouts, again, girls get to go into an environment where they feel safe and where they feel that they can try new things without feeling the pressure from peers. And, when you think about mentoring, you think about not only the leaders, the troop leaders that these girls get to look up to and have them welcome them each month with a smile, but to your point, the programming that we do in Girl Scouts. So having the opportunity to see outside mentors that could teach girls and have them be excited about different fields and different opportunities is really special.
Thank you. And Shannon, what role do schools play in all of this? I mean, you have such a critical age at LP Stewart Academy. So tell us more about what you're doing and what the role is that you play.
Well, school is obviously very critical for creating that space of connection. And I know at Stewart Academy, we make sure that the girls feel connected to something, whether it is our Young Women of Excellence group, or if it's the choir, or if it's something we find an interest, and sometimes we create that space for them, whether we need to create an art club for them to do after school, or we find mentors to come and speak to them. We have a career cafe we do with a group, with our 6th grade, where they can see women in various fields who can come and speak to them. Our very first day of school, we make sure the girls know they're supported and connected to our community, and that they are supported when we do a big welcome back event. And we always reflect on that first day. So there were people here who didn't even know you, who support you. And we find ways to just make sure that every girl feels that connection. And even I have a little girl who plays flag football, and she loves it. And we make sure we announce it, we speak to it, we show other girls who are playing football so that she can see I'm not the only one. We like to also share with the girls that every girl is not glittery and sparkly and pink and foo-foo. We have shades of pink, we say. There's a range, and so we make sure that all those shades find each other and find those ways to connect, and even with our staff as well.
I love that. It's like a big hug, no matter, kind of like what they bring to the party. It's all great, and it's accepted, and it's just connection. Absolutely. Thank you, all of you, for that. Our next category is tied to building skills, confidence, and opportunity. To adjust this a little more. So organized activities are clearly a bright spot, and that really showed up in this report, no doubt about it. So why do these matter so much for girls right now? And let's start with you, Kelly. What impact do you see? And you're talking about Jill of all trades in particular.
Yeah,
Tell us more.
This is, again, specifically for high school students, for them to be able to come and have a hands-on opportunity to try everything from welding. Last year we did crane rigging. They get to do automotive, just a wide variety of opportunities. And so I'll tell you, this will be our 3rd year hosting this program here at Owens. So we really haven't done the tracking as far as how many of those students have enrolled at Owens. We're not quite there yet. But what's really impactful are the girls the day of, because they're coming generally from a number of different schools, and they're walking in and they're kind of quiet and this sort of thing. Now we do give them a lot of candy, but by the end of the day, they're just so excited and energized. And again, it just opens them up to what is available out there for me. It's just such a great opportunity. And again, that's hands-on. That's making that structured opportunity for them to come check it out.
And pushing them out of their comfort zone, but realizing that when they do that, it's really fun.
Oh yeah. They get to do so many cool things.
It's awesome. Shannon, what happens when girls truly engage? You kind of talked a little bit about this already in some of the programs that you have. What do you see from them sort of after the fact when they start to get involved? Are they continuing to grow and then they get more involved after that first time around?
Absolutely. Getting involved allows them to showcase their talents. And maybe some things they didn't know that they were able to do. I know when we haven't made a new episode yet, but we do have a podcast. Shameless plug right there. But
what's it called?
Girl Talk. Sorry for my voice is a little off today too. But there was a student who was leading the podcast who decided she never knew what she wanted to do. We always ask, with career, would you like to do, when you become an adult? She was interested in now podcasting. So there's times when you introduce girls to these groups or these activities, and things start to come out of them. You start to notice a particular skill in a girl who's a great speaker. Well, she didn't know that before, and you give her a microphone and you allow her to do that. So it just provides opportunity to have the girl tap into some talents that they may not have known that they've had.
That is such a great point. Like planting those seeds early, like, wow, I can do this, and I'm really good at that. Like those confidence things really play forward very nicely. So. And with that in mind too, Tiffany, how do girls grow through leadership in the Girl Scouts? And specifically, can you give us some examples of some of the programs that might be newer? If someone might have known Girl Scouts maybe 20 years ago, tell us what's changed.
Yeah, so we always think of Girl Scouts from the past, like cookies and camps and crafts, but there's so much more to Girl Scouts, to your point. We do things like welding, girls get to learn about, I know at one of our camps, the girls were able to help build a new structure on the camp. And think about that, you know, we did see that there's so much bullying, and girls feel like they can't get away from it. They might, you know, when we were in school, you would get bullied at school and they could go home and have a break. But this generation of girls don't have that. They don't get a break because it follows you with your phone. And so I love the idea that our girls and Girl Scouts get to do things outside. They get to keep their phone back in their cabin, and they get to be outside with friends and fresh air, using their hands, and having a break and just feeling like a real kid person out there, relieving some of the stress of what we all deal with anyways, you know, with the phones and whatnot. And so our program is like that. There's so many different opportunities for the girls to learn and develop.
Thank you for that. So many. It's really changed so much for the better through the years. So 18% of high school girls in Ohio reported experiencing sexual dating violence in 2021. How can we address this beyond educating girls to build a culture of respect? So let's talk a little bit more about that. Shannon, what can schools do better, perhaps?
Well, one thing that I know that we made an emphasis on is getting parents involved in conversations, sharing things. We talk about the digital citizenship when you spoke to the cell phones, and getting parents to understand they need to be monitors of those things, making sure, and I have the babies, so we're introducing them, okay, you can't say or do or post certain things for people to see that's inappropriate, because those things stay there forever. So getting them to understand at an early age the appropriateness of how they should present themselves so that people don't take advantage or mistreat them is something that we start off early, but getting parents involved in those conversations as well to get them to understand some of those parameters they need to set in place.
And they play such a critical role. Yeah, and then Tiffany, how can peer mentorship really empower girls?
Yes, definitely. So again, in Girl Scouts, it's a safe place, and it's an opportunity for girls to learn from their peers and be with other girls their age, girls a little bit older, and having that opportunity to have strong peer mentors is so very important. So they feel that they can do it, they can try and make mistakes and come back and try again. But having those leaders to look up, you know, Girl Scouts, we have some really high honors like our Gold Award. That's one of the highest honors that we have. And so for our little gals that are in Girl Scouts, they have those peer mentors to look up to strive to be the best citizens and the best Girl Scouts that our community can have. And so having those kind of opportunities is really special and meaningful for the girls, again, to foster a place and have that true excitement and happiness.
Such an excellent idea. And when we talk about that as well, Kelly, what role do families play in this?
Absolutely. I think building a culture of respect really starts with girls having respect for themselves and having confidence in themselves. And when they have that, it's easier for them to be able to move forward and get out of maybe unhealthy relationships. I think it's important that families and communities model what the healthy relationships and that confidence and respect is. So I think we should be having these conversations with girls often and early.
And everyone here in this room thinking about it too. I know it's hard, it's awkward sometimes when you want to talk about these things. And a topic that's near and dear to me, partly in my book as well, is our next area, which is digital spaces and social media. We know, as we've alluded to, cyberbullying, emotional, mental, physical toll that it's taking on all of our girls. It's really, really daunting. And seeing it on paper and seeing it in the study is just really, it's alarming. So how can we help girls? I know we've alluded again to that in some of the other topics. I'm talking about things, you know, healthy digital habits. We talked about digital citizenship already. But, you know, there's a prevalence of images out there, cell phone things that are happening. You give the girl a cell phone, and guess what's on the cell phone? We think we have parental monitors. Do we really? Are there, you know, they're finding a way potentially to see things that maybe they shouldn't be seeing. So have we normalized this in some way? And Kelly, how does self-image impact in your realm, in the college and high school age? How does that really envelop and develop career confidence.
Absolutely. And when we talk about social media, I mean, it's not going anywhere, but there are some actually very positive things for social media. So I think it starts with girls seeing strong, healthy women as mentors and role models. It's almost like we have to drown out the bad with the good. And so making sure that girls and young women can see that and see the good that people are doing in those types of role models. And I think it helps for strong women to share the tools that they use to develop resilience, to talk about their stories and to share those stories with younger people.
Thank you. And Shannon, to continue on what you said earlier about digital citizenship and other things that schools can be doing, how do you feel about that at this moment in time?
Yes, very important. I know that we spend a lot of time when we do our bullying prevention curriculum, a lot of that is focused on the cyberspace. We have a pamphlet that we do share with our families from the Federal Trade Commission. It's a free booklet where it helps guide them to help guide their children on using social media and things like that. But it all starts with our little people. I think of my kindergartners teaching empathy and being those examples and showing them the positive things to say and how to interact with each other goes a long way.
Yes, yes, for sure it does. And when we look ahead, what gives you hope about the next generation of girls? What are they already doing that we can learn from? And why don't I start with you, Tiffany, in that regard?
Yeah, so what makes me hopeful and excited for our next generation of girls is having that empowerment to know that we can do anything we put our minds to. You know, that's something that we want to really strive for all girls in Ohio to have. And, you know, again, for me, being a mom and me passionate about girls in Ohio, giving all girls, no matter what their zip code, the opportunity to be part of organizations. We've seen from the report that girls who are involved in after-school programming are happier, healthier, not only physically but mentally. And so for me, I really feel that there's a lot of opportunity to make sure that all girls have those opportunities to be part of something, and knowing that being part of something and being part of a program like Girl Scouts is going to help, like I said, foster the next group of leaders here in Ohio, and knowing that our girls have a space to feel like they have the empowerment to do that.
For sure, Tiffany, and thank goodness for Girl Scouts. I say that all the time. I probably said that 1,000 times in my life. I'm really so glad that you have your fingers on the pulse of all that's going on. So in terms of closing today, let's close with each of us. I would love for you to share one actionable step, something that everyone here, whether you're a teacher, a parent, an employer, a nonprofit leader, a concerned neighbor, whatever we all may be, how can we make a difference in the life of a girl? Shannon, start with you.
I would say to be a champion for that girl, be consistent, be a great role model for her, encourage her, not just to say she's pretty, but she's also smart, she's also creative, she's kind, but being able to pour into girls in that way, but be consistent.
Amen. Kelly?
I pretty much had about the same thing. I think it's important we tell every girl we see that they can be beautiful and smart. They can have a career and be a good mother. That their success isn't measured by just one thing, but by their whole person. And that girls can and should do it all.
Love that.
Yeah. So for me, I would not be very good in development if I didn't say, you know, it's so important to give back to the girl programs here in Ohio. So thinking about Girl Scouts, giving back to Girl Scouts so that we can make sure that all girls have that opportunity, like I've been saying, to be part of something, but also to be a mentor, to be a safe person that girls in our community can talk to. You know, there's a lot of things within this report, like Aimee had spoke to earlier, that is heart-wrenching. And so knowing that you can be a safe person for our girls to come and have conversation with and be an uplifter, like the other two ladies said, is really important and easy to do. So thank you.
Thank you, and amen to that. And how about a round of applause for our incredible panelists? And for Aimee also. Aimee, thank you. Thank you to the Rotary Club as well. Rotary Club, you're amazing. Thank you for having us all here and inviting us in today. This work that we're doing and that is ahead of us is super urgent, but as we've seen and heard today, I feel like it's also possible that we can chart a positive path and an impact for girls going forward. So let this not, this report not be a conclusion, but action for all of us. And really start to think through what you thought about at the very beginning when you saw Aimee's research, and who was that girl you thought of, or multiple girls you thought of that you said, you know what, I need to focus on that young girl or that young woman right now. So together I really feel like we can help Ohio girls to become their strongest, most resilient, and brilliant selves. So thanks again for being here today. We appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.
Christy, Tiffany, Shannon, Kelly, Aimee, thank you very much for your time today. We appreciate you being here. How about one more round of applause for our friends from Girl Scouts of Western Ohio. In appreciation for your time, we're going to present each of you with a copy of a book authored by a past president of our club, Clint Mock, called Historical Tales of Toledo. We're also going to be making a donation in each of your names to the Polio Plus Fund with Rotary International to join their efforts in eradicating polio. I will also say that it is World Immunization Week. I've been practicing that phrase all morning. 3 billion children have been vaccinated against polio, and the cases of polio have been reduced by 99.9%. We also know the job is not done until every child is vaccinated and polio is stopped for good. We hope that everyone in this room will also share the message that vaccinations work, and we're seeing that work in what Rotary International is doing with polio, and we're excited to support that in your name. So thank you again. All right, so next meeting is not happening, actually happening at the golf course. Monday is our second annual Founders Day golf outing at Sylvania Country Club. Thanks to Alex, Becca, everybody on the team for helping out. I think Becca's had the full-time job of trying to keep Alex in order. And so congratulations on that. It is sold out. We have no more available playing spots, but I bet if you showed up with a checkbook and wanted to sponsor something, Alex would still find a way to take your money. If you have items you'd like to donate to the swag bags, Alex is specifically looking for just stacks of money we can put in everyone's bag that they can donate back to the foundation as well. Wednesday, you can join us for Camp Day at Camp Miaconda when we have a fun day with Glendale Philbox students and our Interact Club at St. Francis. And of course on Friday, this is a busy week for Rotary. On Friday, you'll start your morning with Coffee Connection at Sweet Nate's in the Oliver House. Exciting stuff. All right. Dare we try it one more time? Here is maybe. From the lens of Grant Beachy to your eyes, this is our service project. Let me tell you what, man, Christy Amanpour is just kicking our ass this morning.
This new $80 jet pressure accelerator harnesses the cleaning force.
To YouTube, so ads are expected.
I have to start by saying it's not an easy story. That
no, maybe I sent you the wrong link, Dominic. I'll take the blame for that. All right, we're going to send it out, and you know what? We'll watch it again in a couple of weeks. It'll be great.
I'm relaying the story because, well, it might be
when we come
for
back
me,
for our meeting on May 12th, please, everyone, mark your calendars, share it with all of your Rotarians to be in the room for that meeting. The proceeds from the golf outing go to support the transformational. They go to the transformational project fund that Toledo Rotary Foundation has. Those are dollars that we use outside of our normal grant process to be able to make a difference in our community. The last time we dug deep into that well, we created Middle Grounds Metro Park, which became the pilot for what we now see as the great work that Metro Parks Toledo is doing downtown with Glass City Metro Park and the Riverwalk. We are going to be having a conversation with Greater Toledo Community Foundation as they have identified 2 key areas where our club specifically can have a major impact on our community. And we're going to dive deep and better understand what the landscape looks like. And you've heard a lot of at least one side of this in the news recently as we talk about how our club can make a difference either in the area of universal pre-K, early childhood education, or in cleaning up our environment and clean water. There are needs in all of those areas and probably 1,000 others, but we as a club are going to have an opportunity for us all to talk about where we see our club taking a stand and doing what I've been referring to all year as taking a transformational focus for the next few years and challenging other funders in the region to do the same. So mark your calendars for May 12th to be back in the room for that. There are opportunities, we'll put them in an email to everybody. Next week, if you're not golfing, you want to come out, be a part of lunch, or you want to come out and be a part of helping Alex finish off the margarita fountain so he doesn't have to do it all himself, you're welcome to come out and be a part of that as well. We've got one meeting this afternoon. The Finance Committee is meeting in Jefferson A. That's right outside this room. And so I will just share a brief story. Easter, we got together with my family, and somebody handed my daughter a jar of salsa that she was trying to open up for lunch, and I stepped in to help. And she snapped at me, and she goes, "Dad," she's 11 years old. She goes, "Dad, I am a strong, independent woman." Last night when she asked me to go fill up her water bottle, I reminded her she is a strong, independent woman. So with that, go out and make it a great day. We are adjourned.